kind of get started here. Real quick, just want to do a quick introduction of yourself. So who's this guy talking? My name is Ryan Harkleroad. I do work for Project Lead the Way, and I am a partnerships manager is my title here at the organization. Real quick, just so everyone's aware, there is a chat feature within the meeting or within the kind of the GoToMeeting area. Do feel free to go ahead and post any questions that you might have. This is a relatively large group today, so do please try and push those questions through via the chat feature, as well as this meeting is being recorded, so just so everyone's aware of that. If there's something, or if you want to go back to it in a week or two when the competition officially opens up and maybe review something, don't be afraid, don't hesitate to do that. We will be sending out a recording of this meeting as well. Real quickly, again, like I mentioned already, my name is Ryan Harkleroad. I am the partnerships manager here at Project Lead the Way, and kind of what that means is I kind of support the day-to-day management of potential or existing partner relationships that we have, along with overseeing Innovation Portal and playing a key role in being kind of the competition administrator for the competition that we're actually hosting, with this, which is ran by Project Lead the Way and being sponsored or in support by Chevron. I am also joined by Elliot Mork. If Elliot, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself here real quickly?
Sure, thank you, Ryan. So you might get emails from both of us, Ryan and Elliot. I'm a director of partnerships here at Project Lead the Way, overseeing the Innovation Portal and a bunch of other things as well, mostly trying to expand opportunities to PL2W students and create and bridge some connections between students in Project Lead the Way courses that are taking engineering courses with professionals that are working in the field, engineers or technical people, project managers, those kind of things. So trying to bridge that gap and allow students the opportunity to kind of be influenced by you and give you the chance to see what Project Lead the Way students are doing and the support that Chevron that gives Project Lead the Way and the Innovation Portal. So it is worth noting here that the entire Innovation Portal that you see here, this entire website was built with support from Chevron, and including this competition that we're being trained on being judges for today. So without that support, this wouldn't happen. All these student experiences wouldn't be available for students without that support. So I know a lot of you are from work for Chevron, but also we have some other representatives from Complete Structural Consulting, from Lockheed Martin, and from John Deere here on the call today. So thank you very much for all the support, everyone coming together to support this opportunity for students. And thank you for taking your time out of the day and volunteering. I know that's kind of hard to schedule a webinar time to give a dedicated 1 hour in your busy day. So thank you for coming to this to learn how to judge. And then thank you for the 3 to 5 hours that you're going to be spending evaluating student portfolios and the work for this competition, so we can identify that first, second, and third place, and then ultimately recognize excellent student work at the Project Lead the Way Summit in October. We're bringing them into Orlando, Florida. So pretty neat opportunity that you are a part of in enabling students to be a part of that. So I think Ryan is going to give you a quick background about Project Lead the Way. I know most of you probably don't have any exposure to it, so he's going to tell you a little bit about Project Lead and what we're going to be covering today.
Thank you, Elliot. Just real quick, I know everyone always on webinars is always wondering where we're from. I'm actually from Indianapolis, and that's where I reside from, and then Elliot is right next to me in Columbus, Ohio. So that's both where we're calling into from today, just a little background. Real quick, as I move into the agenda here and what we'll be covering today. Like Elliot mentioned, I'm going to go over Project Lead the Way in a little bit more detail, just so everyone kind of has a broad understanding of Project Lead the Way. We're going to talk a little bit about the competition, the scope and the parameters, kind of some guidelines and what students have been working on, as well as go over the competition timeline. I think you will be very impressed when you start reviewing portfolios for students to find that students have really only been working on these for about 60 days. So we want you to also keep that in mind as well. We'll also talk about creating your own Innovation Portal account and getting connected to the competition. A large majority of you should have already received a judge invite, and we should be walking you through that as well, but we'll make sure everyone's on the same page and no one has any questions, as well as how to access the portfolios that are assigned to you. We'll go into great detail about the rubric, so make sure everyone's on the same page and every student or portfolio group is being judged fairly with the same things in mind as well. As well as We'll be mentioning these dates throughout the entire call, but we want to really make sure everyone is aware of these because they are ultimately super important, and that is when you can review the portfolio. So all portfolios will become available to you on or before May 1st, and then we're going to ask that all judges the judging time frame or window will be May 1st to the 12th, and then we ask that you have all submissions to us by May 12th. And if something comes up or something happens to where maybe that time frame doesn't work for you, that is fine. We do completely understand. Just please do let Elliot or myself know, and you can do that by emailing innovation@pltw.org. So real quickly, just kind of giving you a very high overview of Project Lead the Way. We are currently in all 50 states, including Washington, D.C. We are in over 9,000 schools that cover just under 2 million students participate in Project Lead the Way every day, as well as we have over 10,000 programs and roughly 35,000 teachers as well. We are a nonprofit organization that offers transformative learning experiences for students K through 12. So that's broken down into 5 pathways, which is computer science, engineering, and biomedical science. And then moving on to the next slide, you will briefly notice that, like I said, we are K-12, and that's broken up into 5 pathways. So that first pathway, which is covered in the elementary school, K through 5, is considered our PLTW launch pathway. Then from there, students have the opportunity to move to our middle school program, which is considered Gateway, and that's 6 through 8. And at the high school level, it's a little more structured. They are considered year-long courses as well. We have 3 pathways at that, and those are engineering, biomedical sciences, and computer science. So those are the 5 pathways that we do have here at Project Lead the Way. Again, we kind of wanted to go over the competition scope and parameters here just so everyone's on the same page and kind of understands everything that's going on. Again, this is the first engineering design competition which has been fully supported or ran by Project Lead the Way. We are extremely excited. We have had great feedback from our students and teachers. Actually, Ellie and I were just checking the numbers because registration for the competition actually does close tonight. To date, we have nearly almost nearly 100 individuals have registered for the competition, and that is from 18 states as well. So we're extremely excited. It is a national competition from that. And then one thing that we thought would be very beneficial to our students that are participating in this competition would be to have a problem or something to kind of gear their work towards. And from that, we kind of went back and forth on different topics that we could cover. And one thing that we set on was something that with the infrastructure. I think we can all agree that infrastructure is something that is being covered nationally as well as locally in your issues. I know when I come into work every day, I'm having to go to the other side of the road because there's potholes everywhere. That's all over the place, and it's something that is extremely important. So that is what we have asked our students to focus their portfolios around. Again, I have already mentioned this, but this is a national competition. So any students grades 9 through 11 do have the ability to participate in this competition, as well as we have asked them to have 2 to 4 groups. So we ask that every student group is anywhere from 2 to 4 students. So do keep that in mind as you are reviewing. And then one of the great things about this competition is something that's unique as well is the awards that we're going to be honoring students. We will be essentially honoring the top 3 student groups with the first prize, as Elliot has already kind of mentioned, where students do have the opportunity and the privilege of attending the 2017 PLTW Summit in Orlando, Florida. So we will be bringing those students down or up, actually more likely down there, and we'll give them the opportunity to present their portfolios to a group of educators, as well as be recognized on the national stage as well for their awards. All top 3 groups as well will receive scholarships or grants for their schools, as well as all participating in those top 3 will receive Beat headphones by Dre. So I think we can all agree that students do enjoy Beats by Dre and those wireless headphones. So we thought that'd give them some motivation as well to join. Competition timeline. I do want to pay close attention to this as well, just because I truly want you to understand how quickly everything has happened and how much time students have had the ability to work on this as well. So the competition officially did launch on March 1st, which was the first time that students actually had the opportunity to hear about the competition as well as hear the theme. So students weren't able to be working on this prior to March 1st. April 19th, which is actually tonight, the registration will be closing. So we're hoping to have a better idea of how many portfolios we're going to be seeing in the next couple of hours here actually, or tomorrow morning. The deadline to submit their portfolios actually will be a week from tonight, or a week from today, next Wednesday, April 26th. So when you look at that, schools have roughly only had about 60 days, a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on when they registered or when they heard about the competition, to actually come up with these portfolios and work on that problem. So do keep that in mind. Again, there's that date that I told you we'd keep going back to. The judging window will officially open May 1st through the 12th. So when your portfolios are officially assigned to you, you will receive emails. So don't be thinking right on May 1st you need to be logging in or don't know what to do. You will be receiving emails, as well as we'll go to where you can start looking as well on May 1st on where your portfolios will be within the Innovation Portal. And then, like we've already mentioned as well, on May 12th will be the deadline that we're asking all judges to have their portfolios reviewed and submitted to Project Lead the Way, because then that gives Elliot and myself a very short timeline to compile all the scores that came in, kind of determine who the top 5 are and the top 3, and make decisions, and then start notifying the schools. Because like we've mentioned before, the winning school will be invited to the 2017 PLTW Summit, and with school endings happening towards end of May, early June, depending on where they're located within the country, we want to have all that squared away before they come back before they come back to school in either August or September. So getting connected to the competition. Before I go into this, does anyone have any questions or anything that I can answer for you that kind of jump out right about you, either about Project Lead the Way or about the competition in general? Great. Seeing that there aren't any questions, I will go ahead and kind of continue on here. So getting connected to the competition. Everyone here should have received an invitation to invite them to become a judge. If you have not received that email, that's fine. Just go ahead and create an account at innovationportal.org. Once that's done, and when you do that, make sure you use that same email address that you used to register when you initially registered to become a judge, and then that kind of led us to the next steps and got you invited to this meeting today. So do make sure you use that exact same email address, because when you actually log in, you'll notice that you do have an invitation waiting for you to be a judge and to join this PLTW engineering design competition as well. And if you don't see any of that, I can't stress the importance of emailing innovation@projectleadtheway or at pltw.org. Again, once you officially accept that invitation, either by email or directly through the My Notifications link on the portal, you then are immediately connected to the competition. So that gives you some kind of clear guidance. But the most important thing here to make sure that you are connected is you're using that same email address that you used when you initially registered or volunteered to become a judge. So real quickly here, we thought it would be beneficial as well, just so you can kind of understand how portfolios are created and the different opportunities that kind of students have through the portfolios as well that they are creating. So a student, again, just as you did, can log in or create an account at innovationportal.org. And once they do that, from there they then can go ahead and create a portfolio. And then once that portfolio is created, they can then from there invite their classmates or project partners. And then between anywhere from 2 to 4, some project partners have more, but for this competition it will be between 2 and 4, as well as they do have the ability to essentially set their teachers or share that with their teachers so their teacher can continually go in there, check on their progress, provide any direct feedback to them, and any kind of things like that. And then another unique opportunity that we do have, and I do know maybe some people on the call have participated in this as well, is that project mentors, so business individuals or business leaders like yourselves, have the ability to be invited as well to a student portfolio and provide their feedback. Let them know if that's realistic. Maybe they need to go into more detail around this topic or remove this. Providing them very valuable feedback from business partners like yourselves, or kind of mentor them through that entire process as well. And then from there, they do have the ability to submit to competitions and other competitions as well. So that one portfolio that those students are working on can submit to multiple competitions, just not one. So it does give the students a great opportunity as well as an innovation portal. They can create multiple portfolios. So some students might be working on 3 portfolios, and that is completely fine as well. And then, so from here, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Elliot to kind of help you, kind of show you how to log into the innovation portal, navigate around, and go into the rubric as well. So while Elliot kind of takes over the screen from me and gets logged in, are there any initial questions or anything like that that the two of us can answer for you while he's getting logged in?
Hi, I have a question. This is Anita with Chevron. While I'm not participating as a reviewer, I'm the Employee Involvement Coordinator for Chevron Humankind, so I'm just sort of supporting my volunteers today and listening to this great program that we collaborate with. My question is, will there be a guide for someone who wants to have just like a one-sheet type thing to learn how to get into the projects and so on?
Yes.
Yes. I can take that one, Ryan.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Elliot.
Yeah, this is Elliot again. Hi, Anita, by the way. We're going to be following up this training with a couple different resources. That's actually, we'll cover that, but we're going to have a PDF document that is how to log in and get access to the student work once they're assigned to you, because right now judges don't have access to it. So that's a quick PDF document, just how to log in, get access. We're also going to provide you a document that summarizes the rubric that students are using, and that's kind of the expectations that were given to students to do this project. We're going to give the exact same document to judges that we gave to students so they know how to evaluate that student work. So you'll have those 2 documents in print form, and then also we are recording this webinar, so I'm about to click through and show you exactly how to do it. So you can follow along with me today, and then also use a YouTube link that we'll send you to maybe fast forward to one spot if you forget how to do one thing on here. So those are the 3 resources that you'll get before the end of today.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to show you a click through. Before I do that, I just actually sent a chat into the with a link to everybody. There's an article in the Huffington Post from Vince, the PL2W CEO, about the competition, so also a pretty good overview for knowing what the kind of impact you're having on students. So I'll go ahead and jump in. Let's see here. Go ahead and log in. When you log into the innovation portal, there's no special judge account, so you're going to be logging in just the same way that students log in here. So I'm going to log into a test account that we have just to show you how to access student work. Right now, you won't be able to access student work because, like Ryan said, we're still in that registration phase, and then the students will have one more week to submit their work. So we don't have any student work to show you today, except for some examples. So when you log onto the innovation portal, these 3 boxes here are portfolios that this account owns. You'll see a different screen if you have just created your innovation portal account because you don't have any portfolios yet. So you'll probably see an orange splash screen here. Navigation window is on the left. My portfolios is where we start with just because most people that log in are students. You are kind of a unique case with judging and that you're mostly going to be going into reviews and not portfolios. So the first thing I want to show you there before we jump into reviews though is my notifications. Every time something happens on the innovation portal, like you gain access or you get an alert, you'll get an alert here and you'll get an email sent to you. So hopefully you're receiving those emails. Sometimes we have troubles with really tight spam filters from the emails not getting through. So there's always the option to log in and then see the notifications here as well. So if you hit the drop down on this notification, you can see that this is what it will look like when you get assigned a piece of student work or a submission. You'll get a notification here, and then when you get invited as a judge, you'll see an invitation here that is actually an invitation to be the judge, and you can view the invitation when you click on this. And then you can click accept invitation here, but I won't do it now. Right now. So we just got a question, can you define what a portfolio, one project or a set of several projects? I'm going to actually dive into the portfolio pretty shortly here, so I think we'll address that question. There's a few of you on the call that have not accepted this invitation. So if you could use the same email address to create an account on the innovation portal that you registered on the Smartsheet, log in and you'll see this invitation and click accept, and we'll know that you're ready to go to receive submissions or portfolio of student work. You'll need to do that by April 26th at the latest, or we won't be able to assign you any submissions to review. So let me show you how we'll actually show you some student work and show you the opportunities here. If you, on the left-hand menu bar, if you go to opportunities, not every opportunity is a competition, and so we label that as opportunities. There's two things here that aren't competitions. We currently have live competitions, though, in a national competition, the one you're judging. There's a competition that's statewide in Oklahoma for only senior capstone courses, and then one live in Minnesota as well, with a couple that have already expired for this year. And then there's current ongoing academic research on the innovation portal. We share some student work with this opportunity here, and then some of the competitions include as a prize an evaluation for marketability and feasibility, and so we share with those folks that do the evaluations with this opportunity here. But the one that you need to pay attention to is this 2017 PLTW Engineering Design Competition. Right now, notice that it's in the current tab. We have here on the current tab, and we have a blue tab called past. When you log into Judge, you are going to have to click this past button, because this competition will go into the past bucket as soon as the submission window closes, and that's when you come online as a judge. Is after students have submitted, you'll be judging. So you'll need to click this past and then find this 2017 PLTW Engineering Design Competition. So let's go ahead and click past here. We can see we only keep 1 year of opportunities posted here. So these are all the competitions from last year, and then some that have moved over in this year. So the Kansas City competition has already expired for this year. They've already gone through the judging process and everything. For the purposes of today, we're going to click the training example. You're going to be clicking that 2017 engineering design competition though. So that's the one that you're going to be clicking. It'll move here in the past bucket. I'm just clicking training example right now to show you some student work, some sample student work. You can click the opportunity right now to see the posting description and read about it. This is just a training example that we have, so there's not a lot of actual text filled out or parameters of the competition. But to see the reviews that you are assigned, or the pieces of student work that you're assigned, you can click reviews. Oh, and by the way, you can verify that you are a judge on this competition if you have this bar up here, this menu bar that says view and reviews. If you are not currently a judge, you won't see that bar. So that's a good way to verify to make sure that you have access. Then we can assign you student work before April 26th. So, and the reason I say that is the emails that we send out to invite you to be a judge has a one-time unique link attached to the email. So if you click that twice, you'll get a 404 or a 500 server error, and you might question whether you're attached as a judge or not, and so the way you can verify that is making sure you have that bar visible right there. So these are all the pieces of student work that are assigned to this judge account here, Innovation, the Innovation Portal account. We can see that we have 2 of 3 reviews complete, so this account was assigned 3 different portfolios. We can see that some are active and some are complete. The complete ones means we've already completed it, but we have one active here, the Audio Armor example, so we're going to click into this. And this is the actual portfolio of student work. This is the submission that students put into the competition that you can actually evaluate. So this is one portfolio. So this is actually answering that question, defining a portfolio here. So we have a new navigation menu here on the left-hand side. We have the portfolio cover page, and then we have different tabs, B through H. purposely leaving out A for some future expansion on this portfolio, but we have elements B through H ranging here on the side that you can scroll through. We think about this portfolio kind of like a 3-ring binder for students of information for them. So we have a cover page, kind of that plastic insert that's on a 3-ring binder, and then different tabs with pages that are actually inside of the 3-ring binder. So this is just some example student work. It looks like they have a logo for the project, and then some redacted group member names down there. You might actually see real group member names. There's nothing to evaluate on this page, but different students do different things with the cover page. It's just kind of like they can put an executive summary there, they can put an image of their project there, they can put their own pictures, it's whatever they want to put. But to get to the first real part that you're going to start evaluating as a judge, you can click B. So this is some student work for element B. It can be text, it can be videos, and it can be images all loaded in here. So if you scroll down, it could be several pages long, kind of depending on the length. It's probably not as, we have a lot of experience with the capstone course using this, so those can be pretty lengthy because students are working on them for the entire school year. But in this case, it's kind of a smaller scale project, about 60 days worth of time for them to work on it, either in class or out of class, and so it might be smaller than what this is here. So on the right-hand menu bar, you have a couple different resources available to you as a judge to judge to actually assign a score. So the first one are reflective questions. When I talk to students about these reflective questions, I tell them to consider this a checklist of things you need to do to get a high score. So for you as a judge, it gives you a pretty good idea of what type of content is going to be covered in this element B. They're going to provide research that directly relates to the problem. They're going to provide research that addresses considerations within the context of the problem. So both of those things. So that's kind of a quick summary for you to read to understand what kind of content is going to be covered. Then we can close that and we can go into the actual components of the rubric. So it ranges from 0 to 5. We like to talk about this as kind of a staircase. Each step in between these are the same height, or at least hopefully the same height, and then and staircases moving up. So some of these are going to be intentionally left blank. For the capstone course, we use all of them and have a pretty high resolution of scoring. For this one, though, you only have score descriptors. That's the text to tell you and describes what a score of 1 would be. You have a descriptor for 1, you have a descriptor for 3, and you have a descriptor for 5, and then 4 and 2 are intentionally left blank. That's one step we took to kind of simplify the rubric a little bit for the 9th through 11th grade instead of just the capstone 12th graders. And that's just to simplify it because of the shorter time frame for these students. So you have descriptors for 1, 3, and 5, and those descriptions are what you're going to use to assign a point value to each piece of student work. So you can still use this 4, but if we go back to that stair step analogy, this is like a step in between the steps. You can use it, and so your job as a judge is to evaluate the student work and decide whether it is a 3, pretty much on spot for a 3, or if it's better work than a 3, maybe closer to a 5. So it doesn't have to meet all requirements of a 5 to actually get a score of 5. It just has to be closer to 5 than 4. And you can use this middle stair. You can use that middle stair to assign a middle score between 3 and 5. And so that's pretty handy for you. Get a high resolution to be able to assign scores. It's a little bit difficult for you as a judge in a virtual environment. I was just actually yesterday at an in-person engineering showcase, and in an in-person environment, you can kind of walk around and gauge the quality of work in the room and then kind of evaluate each one with a baseline reference point. You don't have that ability in the virtual environment. You're only going to see the 3 to 5 portfolios that you are assigned. So you really have to lean heavily on the score descriptors, really read what the 3 is saying, and then applying those score descriptors to the student work that you are evaluating. With the other rubric on the innovation portal, we have this extra element called the scored element examples, and that's a library of student work that a panel of expert reviewers have decided that that is a really good example of a score of 3, and you'll have actual student work. We don't have that for you for this rubric because this is the first time that we've actually run this competition with this rubric. So you're going to be the first people that are using this rubric, and the work you do actually is going to contribute not only to the students that work this year and submit work this year. You're going to contribute to building a library of evaluations that we will then integrate into this these scored element examples. So we have a pretty good agreement that this body of student work for element B, if all the judges assigned a score of 3 to it, for example, we might be able to use that as a really good example as a scored element example. So thank you for the work you're doing. Again, you're contributing more than just the students that submit this year, but you're contributing to a body of knowledge of using this rubric as an evaluation tool. So you have rubric elements for B through C. You can, if you just hover over them, it will show you it, and you can review it. But to actually load the student work, you have to click like I did there. So right now we're on C, and then I have to actually click to go into element D to load the next student content. So this is just some example YouTube video embedded in there, and then an image embedded. So you'll see a bunch of student work in different formats there. But with that, I want to turn it back to Ryan to show you how to actually load your score. So he'll show you how to load the scores and send it to us.
Thank you, Elliot. Real quickly, as we're going through the rubric, so here, as Elliot mentioned, you can always be clicking on them and viewing the work and kind of seeing what the rubric is and looking at the scores. But when it actually comes time to start inputting scores, you want to look in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and you're going to see that panel. And you're going to click on that, and that's going to be able to come up for you. So I also do want to mention that you'll notice how it starts on B, as well as with the scoring here as well. So the first one, kind of like almost like a cover page or a portfolio, you might see a little bit of background information, maybe the student names, a picture of them, a picture of their finished product as well. But the actual judging will start on element B, or this area. So when it comes time for this, you do want to go here. You do have a couple of different features here as well. Go ahead and assign here, click on it. You can hit that plus sign as well to kind of drag this over and kind of just read more about what is a 2. It's more of a 3 because we don't have any descriptors for a 2, but there's 3, 5, 1, and a 0 as well. So you can close out of that. Another important feature here as well is you do have the ability to write comments in, and we do highly recommend putting in some type of comments. And the reason for this is because, as you can imagine, every judge here will be judging between 3 and 5, and we're going to have multiple judges judging multiple portfolios. I mean, the same portfolio, so 3 judges we normally always shoot for 3 judges to judge each portfolio. And you can imagine the scoring can become very tight. So if there's potentially a tie, or if someone's just 1 or 2 points off, we're going to go to the comments and we're going to see what was actually said. And that's going to help us if we need to determine either a first or a second place, and maybe even a third or fourth place. So that's why it is extremely important to put a comment here. And again, you can put as little or as much as you want. We just ask that you do put something in there. So I will just go ahead and put a comment here. And then let's say I was reviewing this portfolio and I decided to give them a 5. So I'll go ahead and give them a 5. Everything is automatically saving. So once I click 5 and I put my comment in there as well, I do know it's automatically saved, and it does give me the ability then to move on to element C. So one important thing that I always like to mention as well between each element or each section is that we ask you just grade that section on that content only. So maybe you're reading the rubric for C, and some of those things were actually mentioned in B, or element B. We ask you only review what's on C. So don't pay any attention to what you previously already know or have read. Focus the rubric on that scoring just on this page or this element. And we do ask that you give a score as to everyone as well. So here, let's say this was just average work. We'll go ahead and give them a 3. So again, you want to make sure you put a comment in. So you go ahead and put that in. And then for D, and this may or may not happen as well, but we do ask, you might come across where there's 1 or 2 elements or sections that just doesn't have any content. And we do ask that when that is placed, you do go ahead and put a 0 there. So don't leave it blank. Do still assign a score. Don't use the question mark. Do put the 0 there. So I'll go ahead and just put 0. I'll give them a 1 for that one. And again, everything's automatically saving. And then again, we would continue going through E, F, G, and H. And then once you are done with reviewing, you still do have a couple more steps to go. So don't think once you review H, everything's done automatically. And then from there, and you'll notice here in the top right-hand corner, there is a complete review. So go ahead and click on that. And then you'll notice everything that I was putting in, like my comments are there, C's there. This is kind of like the last place to review everything. Elliot always likes to kind of describe this as your Amazon shopping cart or your online checkout. So you're getting ready to order, you're getting ready to click that submit button, you're just double checking everything. This gives you the opportunity to make sure you have scores in all of the categories and everything along those lines. And then once you do feel pretty confident about where everything is, go ahead and click I understand and wish to complete this review. Then from there, just go ahead and complete the review. And then it will completely go. Now you will notice here that we do have 8 of our 8 total reviewed, and that's actually because this is the final judge training, so that's why it's 8 of 8 is completed for this competition. But you will see if you have any more remaining or any more portfolios to review, they will show here, and they will give you the ability as well to click on them and go in. As well as you do always have the ability to go back into your portfolios. Now, you can't change your scores, but you still can review their work as well. And you can review your summary from there as well. So we'll go back here to where my reviews are. And again, that brings me right back to where I was. Does anyone have any questions around the rubric or anything along those lines before I move on? Elliot, do you want to add anything to this?
I think that's all good. I do want to, before we end, I know we have a couple more things, but before we end, I want to go through a list of people that we haven't seen accept the invitation, Innovation Portal invitation, and just let them know that we're going to be following up on that.
Okay. We will go ahead and take care of that as well. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, great. So again, as Elliot already kind of mentioned this as well, but we will be sending some documents after this call. You will receive a recording of this webinar, so you can go back to it and reference certain sections of it, as well as you will be getting a step-by-step guide for judges. It kind of goes over those steps that I just went over with you and how to access everything, as well as we're going to give you a PDF of the engineering design rubric as well. We understand it might be helpful for you to maybe go ahead in the next couple of days, start reviewing that rubric and just kind of have it in your mind as well. So we will go ahead and send that to you, as well as a lot of our judges for other competitions. Go ahead and print out the rubric and have that at their desk for when they're reviewing as well. Another important factor that we haven't mentioned yet, but we always do like to bring it up, just make sure when you are using a browser or your internet browser and you're reviewing the portfolios, as well as anytime you really log into the Innovation Portal, we have discovered and found that Google Chrome as well as Firefox are the best browsers to use within the Innovation Portal. And then as well as ensure that you are successfully connected to the competition as well. I don't know if now I think would be the best time for us to go ahead and review that list, Elliot, if you'd like.
Yeah, and bouncing back to Google Chrome and Firefox, we currently, our developers are not developing to make it compatible with Microsoft products. Internet Explorer or Edge browser, there's some security holes that they told us about, so they can't guarantee that it's compatible with the Microsoft browser products. So we recommend using Google Chrome and Firefox. It may look like it's working with Internet Explorer, but you might be missing pieces and components of it. So I'm about to read a list of names. If I read your name, that means we don't see you as a judge on the back end. We're going to let you try to look up those emails to see if you can accept that, or we'll follow up with you probably tomorrow morning sometime, sending an email to try to get you hooked up. But this is a list of names of people we don't see that are on this call that haven't accepted the invitation yet. So Ed, Chad, Robert, Pat, Lisa, Chad twice, and Raphael. And actually, I think I got Raphael on during this call. So if you heard your name there, that means we don't have you in as a judge, and if you didn't hear your name, that means you're good to go. And we'll probably follow up tomorrow morning with you individually if you haven't accepted that invitation. The judging window starts May 1st, so you'll be received, if you're not hooked up as a judge by May 1st, that's when we're sending out all the assignments of the portfolios that you will be judging. Then you'll miss that window if you're not signed up by then. And once we send it out to you May 1st, you'll have a few days, at least 2 weekends, but you'll have a window from May 1st to 12th to do that evaluation work. That'll be about 3 to 5 hours of work for you to do at your own pace, however you feel like it. If you can't complete the reviews by May 12th, let us know as soon as possible. We have some ability to transfer those reviews among judges, and so it's useful to know that as soon as possible because we need to determine the first, second, third place on May 12th. And so if you don't complete that, then we're left kind of in a little bit of a time crunch trying to figure that out. So we'd rather you let us know a little bit earlier than later if you're not able to complete it. And you can email us. Ryan and I are both monitor the email innovation@pltw.org. So that's the fastest way to get a response from one of us with any questions you have, if you have any concerns, or you're not able to complete the evaluations. But with that, Ryan, I think that's everything. The last thing I want to say is just thank you again for volunteering your time. We really do appreciate it. It wouldn't be possible for students to have this recognition opportunity without you spending your time to do this as a judge. And also, one other thing I can let you know is we're working on some other models of engagement where right now you are working as an evaluator, as a judge for this student work. If you're interested, after doing this evaluation process, if you're interested in connecting with student teams to help mentor them through this process, let me know. You can email innovation@pltw.org. We're looking for professionals that go through this and kind of want to get involved deeper to do so a little bit more mentoring, maybe one-on-one to one-on-4, whatever the group size is, emails back and forth to evaluate the student work that they do. So that's upcoming. Let me know if you're interested in that after doing this judging. So thank you very much for your time. Ryan and I will stay on the call for a few more minutes here to answer any individual questions, so feel free to hang out, unmute yourself, and you can address any questions that you have live on the call. But with that ends our session today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure having you on the line today.
Thank you.
Thank you.